people! So two exceedingly cool things have happened this week that I want to talk about both now and during the video. And the first one of those is, we hit 1,000 subscribers either yesterday or a couple of days ago, depending on when I finally get this edited. And it's insane, and I am absolutely blown away. The amount this channel has grown just in the last year, but also in the 3 years since I started it, it's only been 3 years, is insane to me. I cannot thank all of you enough for the support you have shown. It's amazing. It's really cool and slightly scary, but very cool. But the other thing that happened within literally 24 hours of me hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark is I finished my sketchbook. I have been working on the sketchbook, as you can see, for about a year and a half now. I don't know why it was taking so long. I think it's partly because of the amount of uni work I've had, and I've been doing my uni work in a different sketchbook, and that's probably why. But yeah, literally so long that it is falling apart at the seams. I had to glue a paper bind on the back of it to keep it in one piece. Probably not best quality, I think I'll get a different type next time. But it's finally done. We have finally finished every single page, and so I thought to celebrate my 1,000 subscriber mark, I would do a little sketchbook tour. That said, I am aware that I owe a lot of my subscribers, particularly in the last year, to some of the animatics I've been making for various shows, particularly A Flag Means Death. So if that's kind of what you were hoping for in Celebration, do not worry. I have an animatic I've been working on since like October on and off, and I finally reached a point where I think I can kind of cut the end bit and edit it and publish it. I've just not finished it yet. So I'm going to do that, and that will be up hopefully sometime later this week if that is what you would rather see. But for now, sketchbook tour time. So sketchbook 3, I wanted to do purple on the cover, so we have my character Portia, who I love. She's one of my first OCs, not the first OC, but one of the first ones who had like a whole story built around her. Unfortunately, since I created that story, I've lived a lot more, learned a lot more things. Bits of it need fixing before I could ever write it. I don't know if I ever will write it because, like I said, I wrote this when I was like 16, 15 maybe. So it's not very good, but I do love it, and I love her character. And obviously on the inside cover we've got a slightly better drawing of her that didn't get kind of warped by me trying to paint. As well as obviously the thumbnails from when I designed the cover. They're a bit kind of smudgier than... I don't know why there's so much pencil smudge on these pages specifically. I know it's because I've been pressing on it, but I do apologise about that. I tried to rub some of it out before starting this video and it just didn't work. So we have pencil smudge, but look at her. She's so cute. I love the I love the colours. She has such nice colours. And then we get into stuff. So we have, I think this might be the first drawings I did of Angela and Yvonne, who are characters I picked up again recently. Another set of OCs for just like a really cute kind of immortality love story with like one immortal character and one kind of non-immortal character, but they don't kind of get together until the non-immortal character's like middle-aged. I'll talk about that more later if anybody wants to hear about it. We also have some drawings of Dinadan and his brothers, which adorable. I love Tiny Bruna. Tiny Bruna is so cute, and Melon. My first height chart I think I did of my comic characters, including their kind of more formal outfits. Particularly these two were inspired by some Graskia fan art I saw a while back, and I really liked it, so I started that, and I was like, hey, we could do a really cool height chart here. I think I did a coloured version of that eventually. Then we tried to use perspective, draw a background for one of the scenes that I didn't end up using, so that's fun. In fact, you know this is over a year old because these were done before I started writing my comic, because I'll show you in a second. More Angela and Yvonne in actual colour, because they're adorable. My first attempt at drawing Merlin, because I thought Merlin was going to be in the prologue for my story. He ended up not being, but for a long while that was in the plans. And then we also have Guinevere, who's a sweetie, Kakashi and Guy, because you know me, I am weak. And a little self-portrait illustration, which I'm actually really proud of. That looks really good. Then we have Nimue, or Nimue, as most people call her, but for some reason I never heard it spoken out loud for the first, 5 years I was into Arthuriana, so in my head she's always been Nimue. And her baby, Lancelot, or Galahad, who are effectively the same character in my story, because I don't have to deal with them having a kid. And then these are some of the thumbnails for what I thought the prologue to my comic was going to be. I believe this idea did get scrapped though, mostly. King Arthur, trying to work out what his symbol looks like, what his crown looks like. Tiny little Oliver. So, for those of you who don't know, Oliver is one of my first ever OCs. Not quite, he's beaten out by one more, but she's changed so much since I created her that it's kind of not necessarily the same character. Like, I sort of adapted her into another character and then into another character. Whereas he's the most consistent original OC. He's so sweet and tiny, and I love him. And did I name him after my dog? Yes, I did. We also have some Legolas and Gimli, because I was getting back into Lord of the Rings again, and a little highlighter doodle of some of my friends from Art Foundation, which is loads of fun. Then we have more comic characters. Oh, Palomides! See, I thought my first drawing of Palomides was in this book, but I think it must have been in the last one. But I love her, she's one of my favourites. Nimue again, and I really like this one of Lancelot, I just think it's really funny. Watercolour paint, these were ones I did during my foundation, like actually whilst at uni, because I was watercolour painting for various other projects. I was like, I got some spare paint, let's just chuck some in my book and see what happens. Daniel, trying to work out what the hell he looks like. That arm is looking very janky. I really like him with his little pale streak of hair. It's very cute, but I was trying so hard to like make him distinct from the other characters I had so far, but you start to run out of costuming ideas after a while. More Legolas and Gimli, because I kind of discovered that that's a ship, and my brain suddenly went, oh my god, that makes so much sense. Kakashi and Guy in watercolour. I have watercolour pens, and they're kind of rubbish, but I was trying to play with those. Also, a tiny little Aziraphale and Crowley, which I completely forgot about. I already did a flick through of this book when I was collecting images for my thumbnail, and I completely missed that one, but it's so adorable. Palomides and Iseult, who I love. I got so attached to them, it's really bad, because if you've never read the story of Iseult and Tristan, I won't spoil it for you, but let's just say that this is going to end badly, and it's really sad because I put it in, I was like, I'll just hint to it, it's fine, and it can just be like a little side thing, and then I got attached to Palomides, and now this is a thing. Then we have... Aha! This would be the week that I discovered Our Flag Means Death, because I'd done this little drawing in the corner of... This is like my D&D character. Their name is Bryn. Originally it was going to be a guy, and I realised at some point I didn't know why I designed my D&D character as a guy, because I am not one. I was like, how about I just, give them the exact same personality and make them a girl, because, and then I didn't feel like it fit them, so Bryn. They're cool. They're a little bard, but like a really little innocent adventure-y bard, and I love them. But everything else on this page is, of course, Our Flag Means Death. I love this illustration, it's one of my favourites. This is cute too, and this is what I turned into my first proper Our Flag Means Death art piece, where I kind of gave my first little review. I loved doing that, it was so much fun. We have more Our Flag Means Death, because I hyperfixate a little bit on things, and so we've got Pete and Lucius, who are some of my favourite characters. I love their relationship, but I also 100% back Pete, Lucius, Fang as a ship. More Ed, more Jim and Oluwande, who I also love, and then we've got the little drawings of Tristan and Bruno when I first decided that maybe the best way to do my prologue was to have narrators, specifically narrators from the afterlife that were characters in the story. So this was, I think, the first time I designed their modern looks, and here you can see the thumbnails for that first chapter that I wrote literally over a year ago now. Which is insane, because we're also coming up on the 1-year anniversary of my comic at the minute. That will be in August, and I'm so excited about it. And I'm trying to get a load of chapters done this summer, and it's going slower than I expected, but it's fine, because we're coming up on the break for the end of kind of part 1 of the story in September, so I'm kind of thinking if I've not caught up by then and kind of got a decent buffer, we'll take a break. Mary Bonnet, who is an amazing character. I always think that the best way you can judge whether a female character was written well is, do I still like them if they are technically married to or involved with somebody I ship with somebody else? And she's just amazing. She's the best character. She's so fun. More Steve and Ed. This is really cute as well. I've not seen that one in a while, but it's adorable. And then we were working on Daniel's family and tiny little Terence, who I named after Terence from the Squire's Tale stories, because that's what got me into Arthuriana, and I was like, you know what, it's a common enough name, let's give it to Dinnerdan's nephew, because it's super cute. Speaking of Dinnerdan and Lancelot, these guys. But this was when I was making my first animatic, I believe, because those are obviously the lyrics to Good For You from Dear Evan Hansen. We have more Ed, more Steed. You can see how my brain works. We've got a little bit of the Ineffable Husbands, because they just pop up all over the place in here. And then this, which was my Steed tattoo that I was designing with the lighthouse and the kraken, which is really cute. I don't think I will ever get that tattooed, but I do love the way it looks, and I put it on his wrist over here, and I just think it's really adorable. I think I put it in one of the paintings I did as well. Then we have Nick and Charlie, because I just watched Heartstopper, and I hadn't gotten as obsessed with it. I think because it coincided with the Our Flag Means Death obsession, which was taking up all my brain power. But I felt like I had to draw them at least once, so there we go. More Steed. These guys are some of my other first ever OCs, and their names are Blue and Red, and I kind of invented them before I knew what trans people were. I think I've talked about this before, and so I had when I originally wrote them, a very tall woman who dresses like a man all the time and often gets mistaken for one, and a very short man who dresses like a woman and often gets mistaken for one. And what I've realised I've kind of done is sort of invented some... I'm not even sure what the kind of gender orientation is on that, and so since then I've considered making them both non-binary. They don't really have much of a story fleshed out. Once again, I wrote them when I was like 12 or 13, so there's not much of a story fleshed out, but I have considered making them both non-binary, or generally just having a very feminine trans man and a very masculine trans woman, because I think that could be kind of cool and very breaking of gender norms in a really funky way. I like messing around with gender norms in characters. It's loads of fun. But I'm super attached to them because they've been around for ages. Then we have this drawing of Ed, which I love. I think it's one of my favourites, because I did that just in pen straight onto the page, and it looks really good. And then also Marius, who is Lancelot's squire, who I, once again, kind of had to work out what to do costuming-wise, because I'd sort of used up all my best ideas. But I really like these drawings of him. He's really cute. And then some thumbnail ideas for one of my comic chapters. Oh no, wait, actually that's not for my comic chapters, that's for an original version of the animatic I made for my comic, which I changed the song for, so I don't think this ever got used. But also Branjen, because we love her, she's like one of my favourite comic characters. I'm obsessed with all my comic characters though, so you will hear me say that a lot in this video. Marius, more Lancelot, me with my guitar! So this must have been around March, which was when my birthday was, and I got my guitar for the first time. Designing swords, just to be cool. I don't know who actually ever ended up using that sword. I think it kind of slipped from my brain. Tank top, turtleneck, Gov, which I've become obsessed with and I need to find a way to put it in my comic because he looks so cute in that kind of top. More Tristan, Lancelot, and then we're back to Our Flag Means Death again, as well as Gaheris, who is one of the candidates for the character I might draw on the front of my next sketchbook. It's either going to be them or Gov, but the next sketchbook is orange, so I'm trying to kind of... His colour palette's blue, whereas Gov's is yellow, so whilst I think I'd rather do Gov, I'm not sure it's going to work. More comic characters. Shocker. This was me planning out my exhibition for my foundation, which is very cool. And these are drawings of Eddie and Buck from 911. Well, no, that's a drawing of Eddie and Buck from 911. This is Alec and Magnus, I believe. I don't really get that into 911 Fox, but my sister loves it, and she was doing her A-level at the time, so I was like, I will doodle her favourites. I am getting slightly more attached to it, it's not got the obsession the same way fantasy shows do for me. Another little self-portrait, although I am not that skinny, but oh well. It came out very long, that drawing, and I'm not entirely sure why. But I really like the vibes. I love my waistcoat. It's so much fun. Also a tiny little Guinevere, which I really like. I think that's meant to be Guinevere. It might be Bran, but I'm pretty sure that's Gwen. The one time I tried to draw straight people and instantly regretted it because I could not get it to work. But, you know, Tristan and Iseult. Like I said, if you've read the Tristan and Iseult story of any kind, you know how that ends. More Guinevere, who has been redesigned in this sketchbook like 6 times. You're going to see her evolve tons. And me trying to design a kind of pirate character, Our Flag Means Death sort of OC character. I really like putting like tiny little white flower dots and pearls and stuff in people's hair. I've done a similar thing with Nemu in my comic. She's not appeared much yet, but like she has loads of tiny little white dots in her hair and I just think it's really cute. This is Portia and Gray, who are, like I said, from that story I kind of wrote when I was 14, 15, that was actually a fanfic that I then tried to change into a proper story that probably needs rewriting, but I'm kind of busy with like 60 billion other projects at the minute, so it's sort of been sidelined. But I really like this drawing of them, and I also really love that top on her. And also Angela and Yvonne again, popping up. Lizzie from Pride and Prejudice, because, you know, I'm weak. And then more Bran and Gaheris, because, you know. This is my favourite drawing, I think possibly in the entire sketchbook. This is Angela and Yvonne done in biro, and then if you take alcohol markers and use them to shade on top of biro, the biro bleeds where you shade over, and it just has this beautiful effect, particularly if you use like the pastel ones, and it's just really pretty, and I love them. I think I started a drawing of them, and I definitely want to finish it and maybe do a video on them at some point. If you'd like to see that, I will definitely do it, and I'll talk a bit about what their story kind of was meant to be. I don't know if I'll ever finish it. It's kind of supposed to be like a short story sort of thing. But I'm really attached to those characters at the minute. Hadestown Doodles. The actual painting I did for this turned out really terrible, but the plan seemed solid at the time. Steve and Ed dancing, because, I mean, they're adorable. And this was a not so great Good Omens drawing, actually. It kind of ended up getting a bit sort of squiffy in places, but I do love that I did like the little snake tattoo crawling down his arm. It's very cute. Then we have what I think might be my first drawing of Isiel Blanchemont. There's a lot of Isiels in Arthurian legend, but she's going to show up sometime around Act 3, so like in 4 years worth of time. But super cool. Tristan with the flowers in his hair, which I think might be the first time I drew that. More Isiel. This was from when I watched The Umbrella Academy, and I can't even remember the characters' names because I sort of got bored of that by season 3. Because the show kept kind of going in circles. But they were sort of fun to draw and doodle. Then we have some of my actual favourite Aziraphale and Crowley drawings, as well as, I believe this was supposed to be Patroclus from the Song of Achilles. It wasn't the first time I'd read it, but I did adore that. And these are all the stamps that came on the Our Flag Means Death pins I ordered, because I ordered some right after I first watched the show, which was pretty much when it came out, so there wasn't a lot of choice, and they came from a very long way away, and I paid way too much postage. But hyperfixations, I need to get better spending habits. We're just gonna ignore that. More Bran. I really love this drawing of her, although her weight's not quite right. She's kind of too skinny again. I don't do that on purpose. I just, like, I think it's because of the angle I draw at sometimes. My characters end up kind of stretched, which is not ideal. Also Governor Hoodie, because, you know. Aziraphale and Crowley in tiny little drawings again, because they're adorable. And then I figured I'd do modern outfits for Bran and Gaheris, and I was like, let's put Gaheris in a skirt, and it looks so good on them, and I love them, and I'm not sure if I want to be them or if I want to date them, quite frankly. More Aziraphale and Crowley, although this is not my best drawing of them. And then we've got like an older Lancelot and Dinadan, which I really quite like. I love the idea of Lancelot growing his hair out. I'm kind of keeping it short for now, but I definitely think at some point I'm going to have to write like an epilogue with him with really long hair, because it just looks so cute on him. Another little self-portrait-y illustration, because my hair was looking really good that day and I wanted to draw funky wavy hair. Crowley again, because, you know, I'm obsessed. And this was when we did our Scotland holiday in July 2022. So, yeah, about a year ago, and we're only this far through the sketchbook, so you can see why this took me so long. Then we have modern versions of Isiel and Palomides. Palomides is wearing a checky shirt, yes, because I love her and I love checky shirts. As well as Dinadan in this really soft-looking jumper, and I don't think I've redrawn that specific jumper, so I need to keep an eye on that because it's so cute. Random, just OC sort of character that I invented on the spot because I wanted to draw someone with really cool, lovely long hair. This was my non-binary character that I was designing for my little set of Pride characters. I think I'd already designed them previously in my last sketchbook, but this was just like a little sketch of them because I wanted to draw something. More Steed and Edward, because they're adorable. And then this is a planner for a chapter that has still not come out, that will be chapter 16, which is the beginning of part 2, which I suspect will be out in January, because I'm probably going to take a break, like I said, if I've not caught up. These are some of ABD Illustrates OCs, which I tried to draw a better illustration for and it didn't work, so I used a dip pen and wrote the Hello My Old Heart lyrics all over it. That song is amazing. I did try redoodle them here, but I never kind of got anywhere with that. Gov with his cat, again, because I like the idea of him being, like, friend to all the cute animals. More Aziraphale and Crowley, more Edward, random OC. Actually, I think this might be Iseult. I think this might be a modern Iseult, but I just don't like it as much as the one I drew previously. New character that I was sort of working on. Her name's Saffron, but she's changed a lot since here, as well as drawings of May from when I went to go see Anne Juliet, which was amazing. Saffron again, with, like, her ponytail hair. Actually, to be fair, I don't think I've drawn her in, like, her new version of how I imagined her, so maybe I will kind of go back to this edition. But she's really cute, as well as Neve, who is also from Saffron's story, who I have definitely kind of changed my mind about since I drew this, although I do like her outfit, but, you know, I've completely kind of shifted their story to a more modern setting than this sort of fantasy kind of genre we were sitting in before. It's probably going to change again because they're just like a little idea I have in the back of my head. They don't really have as much solid building blocks as some of my other OCs. Plus, you know, my little golden trio of characters from my comic. Lots of ship art, Kakashi and Guy, and this illustration of Aziraphale and Crowley, which I was so happy with, I turned into a full illustration, which you'll have seen on my Instagram, or you'll have seen the speed paint of, probably. This I drew during that same summer, so we're still in summer 2022, whilst I was doing a volunteer shift at kind of one of the local stately homes near where I live, and I had spare time and there weren't many visitors, so I drew them. More Bran! Bran and Gaheris, because I kind of ship them, although I don't know if I'm actually going to ever get that relationship onto the page, because Gaheris doesn't show up for another 10 episodes, maybe, and Bran's got so much else going on in her story, I kind of don't want to sideline it for a romance. More Bran, I love this drawing of her, I've coloured this in. This is kind of peak Bran. This is kind of the model I'm going off of when I'm trying to draw her. More Legolas and Gimli, because, you know me. A little comic I did on the beach in Cornwall of Crowley and Aziraphale meeting Morpheus from the Sandman, more Kakashi and Guy, more Aziraphale and Crowley. And then this is when I started doing some kind of comic redesigns. So we've got a lot of Lancelot, Galahad, him with a plait. I love him with a plait, it's so cute. And Dinadan, and then we've got a page full of Guinevere. She's changed again a little bit since I made this, because I think I decided I wanted her to be a trans character, and trying to work out the kind of mechanics of how that works in a world that is sort of set in a medieval-ish era Britain. Like, there's some wiggle room with that, because I'm not keeping to historical accuracy at all, but she has changed slightly proportion-wise since I did this. I think I've changed some of her dresses up a little bit, but I do love this version of her, so we may go back to this. Then we have Iseult and all her different dress outfits, because I wanted her to change dress in, like, not every episode, but, like, every in-world day, she's going to change outfit, because Iseult. And then Gwaine, who, if you saw the video I made about my art foundation, I did Gwaine and the Green Knight as my final project, and I decided to use that version of Gwaine and bring him, kind of age him up, and put him in my comic. He's probably not going to have that big of a role, but I've designed him anyway. I'm very attached to him, and this is his husband and his wife, Bertolac and Elaine, because I love that story. Eleanor and Terence again. So Eleanor is Daniel's wife in my comic, and I love her. She's so cute. She has such cute hair. And then this is what I mean. Gov in, like, the big wide leg pants and the cute little tank top. I need to draw it. It needs to appear in my comic so that other people can be as obsessed with him as I am. Also, Merlin again, because cats. One of my favourite little doodles of Lancelot and Dinadan kind of just kissing, because it's really cute, and something about the hand. The bodies are way too long, but something about the way he's holding his hand, it's so cute. More Guinevere, because I love her. And then Hob and Dream from the Sandman. I'm going to be honest, the Sandman is way too gory for me, but I love Hob Gadling and I'm exceedingly attached to him now, so every so often I just go back and watch that one episode. Another little kind of self-portrait where I got way into my head about trying to make it look accurate, and it did not look accurate. A little house, because I never draw houses, I always draw people. And then more people, because I hate drawing houses. Also a snake. I like that snake. It's a pretty good snake. I'm proud of it. Also, a kind of battle armor alternative for Bran. I don't know if this is the version I'm going to use, but I definitely do want to design her a super cool kind of glow-up combat outfit for the back half of the story. More Guinevere in her little travel outfit with her hair all curly. More Branson and Gaheris because I'm obsessed with them. And Lancelot again. When I was redesigning him, I think, because this was right before his chapter came out, because he didn't show up till chapter 5, 6, and I gave him a really cool cloak because I thought it would be cool. So when I mentioned before that I have an animatic that might be coming out later this week, this was when I started that. This was back in kind of September, October, right after I'd started university and my animation degree, and so we've got lots of thumbnails for that, as well as I was doing Nighttober, so that was just like a little plan about which characters I could do for various prompts. More comic characters, Gareth and Bruna. Bruna and Gareth in Arthurian Legend have really, like, similar stories, like, nearly identical, so I don't know if Gareth will ever show up in the comic, because he's kind of irrelevant, but I really like the idea of them having, like, a reluctant sort of friendship. I think it's super cute. Also, this was, I think, when the Good Omens Season 2 poster with the heart wings came out, which I was so hyped about that when they happened. So we've got lots of tiny doodles, plus my first drawing of Muriel, who I love. I'm already so obsessed with their character, and I cannot wait to see more of them. I tried to design myself kind of a Lord of the Rings sort of OC, with some colour drawings and, like, my really funky blue hair, which is fading at the minute, so definitely needs retouching, but this was super fun. It's probably, the colours are a bit too bright for that kind of universe, but it's cute. More Dinadan and Governell. I think I drew him in my sketchbook at uni and then ripped out and put in here because I wanted it in here. I love the idea of Lancelot just kind of scooping Dinadan up. Dinadan's taller than him by like a good couple of inches, but he's like a string bean. He's so skinny, and I love the idea of him just like kind of getting picked up and carted around. It's really cute. Then we have more Nemu, more Bruna, Eleanor in some colour. I really like that, actually, considering I just use, like, felt tips, so it's not got that much nuance to it. More assorted doodles, including, I believe, a redesigning of Morgan Le Fay for the 70 billionth time. More Bran and Gaheris. You can sense a theme in this sketchbook. You can tell the things I'm obsessed with. One of my favourite little doodles of Kakashi and Guy. Particularly, I feel like they look very young. I feel like this is kind of a teen Kakashi and Guy. In fact, it must be because he's got the little neckerchief on. And it's just very cute. Also, speaking of teens, we have teen Dinadan and Governell as kind of my first doodle of them. And then we have more Kakashi and Guy, but like old Kakashi and Guy this time, which is adorable. Gawain and his husband and his wife. Tiny little Bruna when he was a child in this really cute dress. I love him. He's adorable. Guinevere and Gawain just looking at the height difference, because the funny thing in Arthurian Legend is that Gawain is surprisingly short. If you like read various poems and stuff, he's usually described as like surprisingly short, and I love the idea of Guinevere towering over him, particularly if you include like a little bun at the top. And I just think it's a very cute idea. Then also Dinadan with like glasses and a comfy cardigan on, because who doesn't love that? And horses, because this was around Christmas, and the boy, the fox, the mole, and the horse, is that what it's called? Something, those words just in a different order, I think. And they're really good, it's a really good book and animation for kind of studying how horses go together, I think, so I was doing some practice of that. More Steed and Edward, because I relapsed into my hyper-obsessions all the time. And then more comic characters, including little Bruna with his funky hair. I'm a bit attached to Bruna at the minute. I don't know why, I just sort of am. Then this was around the time we were getting to sort of chapter 9, 10 in the comic, because we've got Segwarades, who's kind of Mark's right-hand man. I just need to do a quick doodle of him. He's not going to show up much, so it didn't seem worth doing a whole character sheet, and I was like, I'll just do a quick doodle to kind of establish what I think he looks like. More drawings of Mark, of course, and a really funky dress. I can't remember what inspired this, but I really like it. It's very funky. And we've got some Yaskia drawings kind of sneaking in at the bottom there, because I have a One Track Mind, and The Witcher is one of those things that I keep coming back to and getting re-obsessed with. This was a plan for a little kind of animatic-y reel that I never finished, and these are just some random doodles because I need to fill the rest of the page. It's a very doodly page. This horse I drew without reference in the middle of a lecture. I'm so proud of it, it's so cool. And then we have Isolde's parents, and one of my favourite drawings of Bruna in his, like, really chunky, fluffy coat. And he's so cute. This was using my sketchbook idea generator, and one of them was like a photo gallery, so I was like, right, we'll just draw a bunch of different frames and then sketch in them. It didn't turn out as cool as I thought it would, but it was fun. And then we're getting into colour drawings. We have some Governale and Tristan, like, through the ages in, like, different styles. I love them, they're so cute. I love this tiny Governale, he's so adorable. Gov's a lot taller than Tristan in the comic, but he is actually, like, 2 years younger than him, which I don't know if I've made that clear at any point, but, like, he's sort of like the baby brother, but, like, the baby brother who has to keep his big brother out of trouble. They're adorable. More Governale trying to decide what, like, his armour when he works in the King's Guard would look like. Bran, because I love her. More Bran, because I wanted to draw this outfit in actual colour, because I never had. And me trying to work out how the hell I wanted Palamides' sort of skirt to work. And I ended up going with this kind of, like, half asymmetric kind of skirt thing, because I thought it looked really cool. So then we have more drawings of Palamides, kind of what it looks like if you take that armour off, and, you know, Palamides in Isolde, because I became obsessed with them, unfortunately. Then we've got Galahad and Dinadan done in the same kind of thing with what you sketch in biro and then shade in, like, pastel marker, and it looks really cute. As well as some doodles for a reel I did make. Lots of tiny little animal baby dragon doodles. I absolutely love this. I wanna edit it at some point, but I definitely need to use that either as an embroidery or as a logo for something or as, like, a little tattoo or something. I love the tiny dragon on the book stack. It's so cute. Doodles of my Sims characters. I was considering doing a speed paint of them for a while, so my Sims characters are all, like, part of this generation family, and there's, like, 4 kind of family trees I'm following, and I'm just very attached to a lot of them. I haven't played in a while, but I should. This was me trying to work out what the fight scene from not the latest chapter, the chapter before that, of my comic was going to look like. I did this on the train back from Cornwall, 9 hours, loads of fun. And you can't really do any detailed work because the train jumps a lot, but sketching out fight scenes, it works really well. So we've got lots of little messy kind of doodles for that. Then we've got Marhouse from that fight scene as, like, a more cohesive sketch. There wasn't, once again, any point doing a fully detailed sheet for him because he doesn't survive more than 1 chapter. More Tristan, and then I started to get back into Torchwood again. The hyper-obsession returned. Torchwood is another one like The Witcher, where I kind of hate that I love it, but less so than with The Witcher, because there are really good bits in Torchwood, and also it's finished, so they can't ruin it at this point. More Nimue, because I love her, with lots of little plants in her hair, because it's super cute. A baby Jack and Yanto, which I'm not sure how that would work at all, except without some really weird time travel, but it was just, like, a cute, funky thing. And this is a cutout of the Torchwood logo that I made when I was trying to draw it on my denim jacket so that I could embroider it in, because I couldn't find a Torchwood patch. Highlighter doodles of Our Flag Means Death characters. More Dinadan. I also feel the need to point out the tiny little bird sticker that my friend from Foundation made for me. At the time I didn't have anywhere to put it because my laptop case was kind of like a fabric-y thing, and so I put one in my sketchbook. I do now have some on my laptop case because I replaced it, but super cool. Me in a big poofy coat because I was sat outside drawing and it was chillier than expected. Just random doodles of various sorts, hot chocolate and coffee, because once again I was kind of cold. And this is the character that I designed for one of my modules, for my character design module. She's very sweet. I think there's only like 2 drawings of her in here, but she's very fun and tiny, and I love her. Alternate versions of Tristan. He's about to chop all of his hair off. I kind of need to decide what that's going to look, because he needs to look sufficiently different, but also sufficiently recognisable that the audience can tell who he is, but the characters within the comic can't. More Guinevere, because, you know, I have a one-track mind. Just generalised doodles. Then this was when I finally sort of was finishing watching The Owl House really recently. So we have Eda and Rain, who I adore. I think they're my favourites. And also some kind of, not particularly great actually, proportion-wise, Hunter and Willow, but I'm hoping I can get better. This was when I realised I started needing to fill up this sketchbook if I ever wanted to get to the end of it, so I did big paintings, with obviously no reference because they're my own characters, of Tristan and Gov in their colours, and then closed the pages whilst it was still a little bit wet, so we have little bits of blue that have transferred across, but They're so sweet, I love them. I particularly like the Gov one. The Tristan one's, something's not right about it. But this, I adore. It's so cute. I love him. He's one of my favourite characters. I say that about everybody, which I warned you I would say. More Tiny Book Dragon. More, like, this is meant to be like Hunter and Willow holding hands. I didn't really kind of draw anything more for that, so you can't tell. But that's sort of it. And then this was literally when I realised that I had 55 days before I go on holiday, which is now about 10 days away, and I really wanted to finish this sketchbook before I got there. And there were 56 pages left in the sketchbook, so I started a countdown. In which we have more colour drawings, because I figured if I just do one drawing on the page, then that'll fill it up faster, which it didn't really, because this took me a lot longer than a bunch of biro doodles would, but it was fun. Then little self-portrait, in which I realised that my shirt is the exact same cut as Lucius' shirt, which we love. We stan Lucius, he's amazing. More Bruna in colour, because I don't think I'd ever done a colour sketch of him before. I'd done drawings of him in my comic, obviously. I hadn't done like a sketch doodle colour of him, so I wanted to do that. More Namu, this is what I mean about the little white dots in her hair, because it's just so cute. Her outfit has like 67 variations at this point, and I don't know which one's going to end up in the final comic, but all of them. Let's just put all of them in, because she's Faye. She can just kind of change her outfit whenever she wants. Jack and Yanto in each other's clothes, because I read a really funny piece of fanfic that was just like, I need to draw this, and so them dressed up as each other, which is adorable. And another one of my favourite Aziraphale and Crowley sketches, because, oh. More horses, because I practice drawing horses, including Tiny Horse. And then I bet you can't guess what happened on this day. This was when we got the announcement that Good Omens 2 was coming on the 28th of July with this poster, and I was like, right, well, we are drawing that, only we're putting the giant wings in, so I don't have to actually draw backgrounds. I'm so hyped for the show, and I'm going to warn you that the next couple of pages, right through to the end of the sketchbook, is a lot of Good Omens art, because my brain works a particular way. Like I said, all Good Omens, more Muriel, I love them so much, and the tiny little doodle here. And then I took a break because I was like, you know what, we need to try draw something else. So I did this drawing of Zinedine and Lancelot, which I actually love. They're so cute. I haven't done as many kind of cute shippy sketches of them in this book as I did in the last one. Possibly because Lancelot only showed up for a chapter or two and then he kind of disappeared. Whereas in my previous sketchbook, I was just thinking about the story overall. But they're really cute. I love them. I need to get more of my comic done so that I can actually see them falling in love because it's going to be so cute. Another little, not particularly great self-portrait that I did, completely without a mirror. It doesn't massively look like me, but I'm sort of proud of it. And then we have more Tristan and Marhaus, because I was still working on that chapter. It took me a ridiculously long time to get it done. And then this was when I read Every Heart a Doorway, which is a gorgeous book. I'm not actually enjoying the sequel that much. So one of the characters is giving me a weird vibe. But this was gorgeous, and so we drew Nancy and Cade from that story. Then my friend pointed out to me that The Witch Season 3 is coming this summer, which kind of I hadn't really noticed. I don't really follow many pages because the Witcher fandom is so rife with discourse and drama, and actually Season 2 was a bit nah, so I sort of wasn't sure if I was going to watch Season 3, but somebody mentioned to me and the obsession hit me full force, so we have a dozen little Yaskia drawings because he's the reason why I'm still watching that show. Jack and Jill from the prequel to Every Heart a Doorway, because they're really cool character designs and I just like them, and also big, poofy, fluffy dress, loads of fun to draw. Some Lumity sketches, which aren't the best either, it's just in terms of recognisability, but I really like them, so I should really practice drawing them some more to get better. And one of my favourite little tiny platypus sketches. It's a tiny Perry the Platypus. Who doesn't love that? More doodles, and then I was like, hey, we've got some paint left over, why don't we just kind of slap it all down? And then I tried flower pressing for the first time this year, and so I kind of glued in this little pressed snowdrop over the top of this square because I thought it looked cool and I wanted to put something in here. More doodles. At this point, I don't know what was happening. I was kind of losing my will to live, but these ones I did at a poetry reading night, so they're all kind of a bit abstract and funky, but loads of fun. And also the origin sketch for the Sandman art I did recently, which I think is my favourite piece of art to date at the minute. I adore that. It looks so cool. More Jack, more Morpheus, because, like I said, one-track mind, and the Sandman had kind of got a grip on me again, which makes no sense, because I don't enjoy rewatching it because so much of it is so dark and gory. But oh well. Doodles of various comic characters, a funky wing that I was going to do in markers. I actually wanted to do it on the next page over, but I miscounted, and so we had to stick a bunch of stuff on here. Hob in his little 100 Years Then shirt, because I love that man. Rain, because I love them as well. And then we've got more Gaheris and Bran, Death from Sandman, and Steed. So all the hyper obsessions in one place. Marker work that I tried to do when I got home. And my dog, because he's adorable, although he did move actually once I finished drawing his head, so I kind of just freestyled the rest of his body because he decided to get up and walk. He'd been sat still for like an hour, so I thought I was good, and then he moved. Much better Lumity drawing, I think. And then Bran in a really fluffy giant dress for some reason. I have no idea what possessed me to draw this, but it happened. And also Crowley and Aziraphale on the roof, based on the little intro sequence because it's adorable. More Crowley and Aziraphale. And then we've got Tristan again, being cute in his little metal greaves that I really love. Sandman doodles all around because it's what I felt like drawing. I think I was at the park and I saw like what I'm pretty sure was a crow, not a raven, but it made me think of Matthew, and so we have this. More Eda and Rain. Tiny little person doodle. That's from a scene in Emma. This is the tiny book dragon again in like a redoodle of that. And this is a random person that I could not decide what character I wanted to draw, so I just drew a person in a big shirt with floofy hair, because why not? More Aziraphale and Crowley. This is when the trailer came out, actually. That's why it's got this drawing at the bottom, and the little Gabriel, and more Aziraphale and Crowley, as well as the doodle that became my like dispute paint of them, which for some reason didn't turn out as good as the Sandman one, and I'm kind of bummed about it, but oh well. Marker sketches, specifically Lumity, that I'm actually quite proud of, and also Jaskier and Geralt, because, like I said, one-track brain. Gaheris has heterochromia, because I hadn't put any cool funky eyes into my story yet, and I was like, you know what, we've got this random side character, let's do it, because it probably looks less kind of pick-me if it's a side character, so I'm just going to do what I want. Aziraphale and Crowley in, like, a little garden with a moon gate, because I just wanted to, because they're so cute. And then Steve and Ed on, like, a funky blue background, because I needed to paint over the bleed-through. And more Aziraphale and Crowley, specifically, like, Aziraphale and Crowley from the beginning, from Heaven. I don't think we're actually going to see that at any point, but it was fun to draw. And then you'll notice that it says redacted on the side of this page. If I flip over, it also says redacted, because there's actually 2 pages here, and they're glued together, and that's because that was the day I saw the Good Omens spoiler, and I had to draw it, but also I knew that this sketchbook was going to be finished before season 2 came out, so I didn't want to accidentally spoil it for a bunch of people, so they are glued together. I will probably post those pages on my Instagram on July 28th, or, you know, shortly after July 28th, when the season comes out for real and everybody's seen it and it's no longer a spoiler. But still, I don't know what it is about Aziraphale's face that I can never get right, but this is distressing me. This was also meant to be Gabriel, and I couldn't work out how to draw him either. So we have some other doodles. We have an Aziraphale and Crowley hug that I'm very proud of, and my rabbit, because she was being adorable, so, you know. And then I managed to take a break for Good Omens for like 5 minutes to draw some comic characters doing like expressions, which was something that somebody noted on like one of my chapters. It was like, you know, you might want to try practicing expressions, which I haven't actually looked up a video on it yet, so I should. But I was like, let's just see what we can do from my brain first. The little gecko that we have on our wall, it's not a real gecko, it's a model gecko, but it's cute. More doodles. Is this supposed to be Dinner Dan, or is this supposed to be someone else? I can't actually remember who that was meant to be. I think it might have just been a person with fluffy hair. More little funky doodles, including more Aziraphale and Crowley. I think that was based on a shot from Staged, actually. And I was like, you know what, we're just going to redraw this, but with Aziraphale and Crowley. Funky hair character, for no apparent reason. Crowley in his little headband. I love this drawing of Crowley, actually. I think it's really cute. I should do something with that. And Magician Aziraphale, which is possibly one of the better Aziraphales in this book for some reason. Maggie and Nina from Good Omens 2, who we actually have no content for so far, but I'm so excited to see what happens with them. So I doodled them. I'm going to draw them so much when it comes out, I swear. And then, like I said, I got back into Angela and Yvonne from that story I was writing way back at the beginning of the sketchbook recently. And so we have doodles of these two. Then we have, I think that's actually technically Iseult. More Angela Donovan mini doodles, because I was like, you know what, let's just draw some lesbians, it's going to be loads of fun. This is when I started redesigning Guinevere again. She kind of looks the same, to be honest. I'm not sure she's actually evolved that much, but I was like, let's just do some more Guinevere doodles. This was based on that meme about, like, the big pants, big jacket kind of duo, but they didn't really get the proportions kind of as exaggerated as I want, so I was like, well, we'll do big pants, big jackets, and then big skirt, because it's cute. Tristan, with his ridiculous thigh-high boots, kind of rolled down a bit, which I think is a really funky look for him. More Maggie and Nina from Good Omens, because, like I said, I am obsessed, but I'm really proud of this, and I've turned it into like a little kind of pared down doodle that I did in colour that I put on my Instagram that I'm really proud of, actually. It looked kind of cool. More Maggie, because that was her other outfit that you can kind of see in the back of the trailer. Super cute. These were some thumbnails that I did for my first ever paid commission, which I got a week ago, which was loads of fun, which was for kind of like a Good Omens themed illustration with like an original character in it. Then just a little page of like all my favourite ships at the minute, because I wanted to, because I draw a lot of very shippy art, you've probably noticed, but this is what I felt like drawing. So we have Maggie and Nina, Aziraphale and Crowley, Steed and Ed, and Dindan and Lancelot, because they're my characters and I couldn't not include them. And then finally, the last page, in which I tried to do like a funky thing using my Posca pens that I never get out, only to remember the Posca pens are incredibly saturated, and so this kind of looks like chaos, but it's fun, it's colourful. You like it, really. Also, the pocket at the back. But the pocket at the back does not actually contain drawings this time, it just contains lots of little A5, A6 sheets of card that I keep meaning to draw characters on so I can pin them on my wall and forgetting about. And that's the sketchbook. Oh my god, if you have made it this far into the video, I'm exceedingly impressed, because we're coming up on an hour worth of recording time now, so the amount of time the video is going to be at least like 40 minutes or something. You're incredible if you've lasted this long. I really hope you enjoyed this sketchbook tour. Obviously, like I said, this sketchbook is falling to pieces, so we are going to be starting on this one that I picked up ages ago, actually, long before this previous one was done, from Tate Museum. It's got much nicer paper in, and we have already started kind of doodling what the front's going to look like, as well as there's a little Aziraphale and Crowley drawing in it already, because I needed to start with something. So this is going to be sketchbook numero 4. I'm really looking forward to filling it out, and yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much again for all the support I've had recently on this channel, for the support for my comic, which has started doing loads better recently for some reason, and obviously for 1,000 subscribers. It's insane, it's crazy. And yeah, I just hope you all have a really good day, and I will try to get that animatic out soon. Bye!